Hello, YouTube. This is Melantar VA.
And this is Sakuya Amano.
And for all of you who saw our video yesterday, yeah, it was kind of a mess. But thankfully, we actually have the founders for the hashtag Rally for Sally movement here with us, Alex Hedgefox and Kojiro Brushard. Say hello,
Hey.
you two.
Hello.
Howdy.
YouTube.
Okay, so first off, how are you? How are you two doing?
You want to go first, Alex?
Sure. I mean, better than yesterday, because yesterday, let me tell you, I had a bit of an incident with soap in my eyes while doing the dishes. Not
Oh, boy.
good.
Okay, then.
Not a good day for anyone yesterday.
Oh yeah, trust me, it was a mess. But as of right now, I'm doing pretty good. I'm
Okay.
doing pretty good.
And Koji, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm usually busy, but it's a Saturday. It's Saturday today, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Double checking. I lost track of time this week.
Good to know that we're doing a
yesterday.
Saturday video on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so before we actually begin talking about the movement, aside from Rally for Sally, what do you two do on YouTube and other such websites? Because I'm sure the audience would like to know.
You can take this one first, Koji.
All right. Well, I am mostly a commission artist, but also a comic book artist too. I actually work over with Archie Sonic Online as a colorist and inker.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And I'm currently assigned to their issue 50 of Sonic Universe Online,
Ooh.
and that's been pretty fun.
We'll have to read that sometime, Sakuya.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, small plug, but I highly recommend ASO.
All right.
But, I mean, hey, especially because I'm actually a pretty big fan of the old Archie comics. I grew up with those.
Yep. Pretty much the comic that we're doing, it takes place at it branches off from issue 250 from the original Archie comics, and they're kind of taking it in their direction.
Okay. And Alex, what do you do?
I do a couple things. I am a amateur voice actor and writer. I voice Sonic in a lot of my girlfriend's videos, comic dubs and stuff like that. I voice other characters too. Just recently, I'm starting to voice Metal Sonic in a couple of characters because I can do a pretty good Neo Metal Sonic voice with all the filters and everything.
Ooh, nice. Maybe sometime, we'll actually have you in one of our comic dubs sometime. Maybe.
Sure. I mean, I'm always down for more work.
Yeah. That's we could always use more voice actors.
All right. Yeah. Just
Always gonna branch out.
if you guys want me to voice a character, be it Sonic, Metal Sonic, or a character you think would fit my voice type, just hit me up and I'll see what I can do.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
But
anyway.
outside of that, hold on, wait, because there's one other thing.
Okay.
I do as well. As I said, I'm an amateur writer as well. I'm currently working on my own Archie Sonic fan continuation, which Koji is also working on as well. My continuation is going to be a little different from ASO, because they continue from the Ian Flynn Mecha Sally era of the book.
Oh yeah, where the where the Super Genesis wave happened and the comic got rebooted.
Well, before that, before the reboot.
Okay.
But still during Ian Flynn's tenure on the Archie series. Mine takes place before that because there were plans set out by former writers Ken Penders and Carl Bollers, and I feel like we're going to need to get back to Ken at one point in the discussion.
Yes, which we are going to.
All right, but regarding them, there was a point where basically one of the editors was a very inexperienced editor. They didn't really know what they were doing. They basically fired Carl Bollers without even telling him and made work so unenjoyable for Ken that he up and left. He had to figure things out. But they did leak the plans of what they were going to do with the Archie book. So
And one such thing we actually kind of talked about in our live Q&A, but we're going to get to that in a minute in regards to Sally.
Right. So my comic is basically continuing from Archie 159, and it's going to be a whole different continuation, a different timeline. It's called Sonic Missing Links.
Ah, okay. Sakuya will have to look at that, and maybe Alex, with your permission, maybe we could dub it.
Yeah.
Sure thing. I mean, as long as you don't mind me sort of overlooking the project.
Oh no,
Of
that's
course.
fine. But anyway,
I mean-
shall we move on to the actual subject of why we're here?
All right, I'm sorry if I. Right, I'm sorry if I went a little too much. I just, you got to plug his stuff. I wanted to plug my stuff too. So.
Oh no, that's okay.
No, it's
So
all good, man. It's
anyway,
and I mean, it's your project, so it's only fair that you overlook it.
Right.
yeah. So anyway, how exactly did #Rally for Sally start?
Can I start this one and you interrupt me if you feel you need to add anything, Koji?
Sure.
Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, so at least with my perspective on Rally for Sally, it started off with those data mine leaks, and I'm just gonna say this. Yeah, I was kind of like a lot of the other Archie fans who were kind of just like.
You were
really
pissed off?
Well, I mean, ish. I would say more upset. Because it really did seem like IDW fans were being handed everything on like a silver platter, like everything the Archie fans have wanted and more. But I guess for me, the straw that broke the camel's back is one of the promotions for Tango and Whisper in the games.
Which you did show me something about them actually being titled Freedom Fighters.
Yeah, they call them Freedom Fighters, and I'm just like. I'm not trying to assume what Sega's doing, but from my perspective at the time, it just sort of seemed like Sega or Hardline was just kind of taking the piss. Like they were really trying to it's like, oh, Archie fans, here's a crumb for you, and it's like, I don't think that's good enough. Like that may make me sound kind of greedy. Again, I'm speaking on my behalf because this is pre-campaign.
That's fine.
But I was just like, because the Archie fans have wanted more representation in the franchise for nearly 3 decades, and IDW Sonic has barely even existed for like 3 years. And
well,
they have
Alex, if I
merch,
may say
they have
something,
translations. Yeah, go ahead.
A commenter on the previous video actually mentioned how apparently some people from Archie or Deke actually harassed a Sega about Sally and the Freedom Fighters being added until a freaking cease and desist order was added. I don't know if that's entirely accurate, but I just wanted to bring that up in this discussion.
Right. That is not true, because you can look up the actual U.S. Copyright Office. I'm going to say this real quick and then go back to more of the origin of the campaign.
Okay.
But if you actually look up in the U.S. Copyright Office database, and there's a filing for Princess Sally, and it's owned under Sega of America. While Deke did help in the creation of Sally Acorn as a character for the U.S. market, Sally Acorn is not a Deke character, because back in 1991, when they were still developing the character before it came out in the U.S., there was a little document called the Sonic Bible.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Yes, and so a bunch, the little flicky animals, the little animal buddies, had all different localized names, the squirrel of which being Sally Acorn.
A squirrel? I thought she was a chipmunk all this time.
Well, it's kind of both. She's kind of a hybrid, a chipmunk squirrel hybrid.
That's fair.
Yeah, she's a little bit of both.
I guess it's however you want to really see her as, because I hear chipmunk, but I also hear ground squirrel at the same time.
Okay, I'm sorry. Back to the.
Yes, but back to the origin of the campaign.
Yes, yes, I'm sorry.
So and Koji could probably testify to this, but we were in a group server. Not gonna say the name of the server since they want to
remain anonymous. That's fine.
Yeah.
And so I guess a lot of us were ranting or venting, because again, this did seem really unfair to the Archie fans who have wanted this for decades. But then I don't know what hit me. like in my mind, I like hopped on a soapbox, and I'm just like, we need to do something about this. And so, like, I had this plan. I came up with these hashtags, Rally for Sally,
Sally
for Dash, and Sally for Speed Battle.
Okay.
And so, like, I was really, like, it was almost like an out-of-body experience. Like, I don't know what came over me. Just, like, this leadershipness, like, came over me. You could almost say that, like, like, my inner Sally kind of came out, more or less.
Okay, and Koji, how did you get involved in this whole thing, if I may ask?
Oh, well, I was there in the same call, but I wasn't really angry about it. I was just kind of all like, hey, cool, Tango and Whisper got into a game. This is awesome. and in my eyes, I figured, well, if they can get into the game, that's just them, like, getting their foot in the door for other characters, Okay. And that's kind of how I look at it. But that night, while he was kind of doing his soapbox thing, I was just thinking, I should draw something for this. And we basically kind of were both thinking the same time of doing some sort of campaign to get started. It's just that Alex went over to the Hardlight server while I was kind of drawing stuff. Yeah.
I spoke to the
admin?
Not the admin. I'm trying to. I want to say like the. The point is, it wasn't someone who's just working for the server. It was someone who had direct relations to Sega Hardlight as a company.
Oh, okay. So like a sort of in person.
Yes.
Yeah. I forget the actual title.
Yeah, I forget the title too. But
would it be
I assure you,
associate?
this isn't just some nobody.
Would the word be associate?
Public relations. That's what
that's the one.
Like
that's the one. Public relations.
Or like a spokesman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just very much like the PR person between the fans and the actual company.
Okay.
Basically like what Aaron Weber did for Sega of America, but Sega Hardlight, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
And basically, I also brought up that, hey, this seemed kind of unfair, and they were kind of the ones who gave us the idea of making a proper, like, Twitter page for the campaign, and basically telling us, as long as we're very friendly and nice and kind about it, about this whole campaign, and we're not like doing any posts that are like demonizing Sega or Sega's characters or IDW's characters, and we're all just like, nicey nice and friendly and post. Basically, they told me to
start this campaign
with this account to basically post on any post relating to Dash or Speed Battle and bring up Sally, because apparently that's what other people did when other characters got in, and when she first told me this, it's like, oh, so like bot accounts. It's like, no, they're actually genuinely nice people. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So the best way I put this campaign, and I don't know if Koji would agree with me on this, Rally for Sally, in my eyes, is very much like a peaceful protest by the Archie fans.
Okay.
Yeah, or at least we try to be peaceful. Like, we do know there's some other kind of weirdos who are trying to actually hijack the hashtags.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if anything, that explains the toxic reputation it was getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were some less than desirable images that were coming out, memes and certain drawings.
Oh boy. Sakuya, do you have any questions for these guys about their campaign or anything that could relate to it?
I'm like trying to think of something right now, but it's like,
take your time, no rush.
Okay, well actually, here's a question. Some people have actually been like comparing IDW Amy Rose to Sally and saying that both of them are officially Mary Sue's. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, goody.
I'm sorry, I absolutely had to get this out in the open.
You didn't do anything wrong. That is a fair question to ask, but Because you're referring to the Groovy K video, aren't you?
Yeah, the one Dumbsville covered.
Yeah. So I feel like that video is, again, like Dumbsville said, it's asking basically two different questions, because them two being Mary Sue's or not being Mary Sue's doesn't make them the same character. Like, that those are like two completely different topics there.
Okay, well, essentially, let me reword the question. Would you say that IDW Amy has become Sally Acorn, or would you say that that's complete bullshit?
I'm speaking on myself, not on Koji, not on the campaign, but for me personally, I would say, yeah, she kind of comes off like a Sally substitute, if anything. I'm not saying that's a good thing, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when I read the book and I'm just like, Amy's not really being Amy here. And then, like, everyone's like they'll either pull up that, like, Sonic 101 video where it's like, oh, she's a strong, independent person, or they'll pull up the Sonic AMA with Ivo Gerskovich, where it's like, oh, we're trying to get Amy away from that damsel in distress role and make her a strong, independent woman type character. And I'm just like, she hasn't been a damsel in distress since, like, oh god, like, Adventure 2, when she was held up at gunpoint.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, so... And then they say, like, Sonic Boom was, like, the first example of this, and I'm just like, Sonic Boom's a different universe. So that
yeah,
really
like,
shouldn't
that's absolutely
carry over
not the same Amy Rose.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a completely different Amy Rose.
So that just made me more confused, but I guess Amy isn't the lovey-dovey, oh, Sonic, all that stuff, It's just, she is woman. She is woman. Hear her roar.
That was good.
Thanks.
Okay, so Koji, your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of hard to compare the two. Like, I do like Amy in the IDW comics. Sorry, Alex.
No, that's fine. That's completely fine.
Yeah.
I am not dictating anyone's tastes.
But my issue with the current Amy is two things. One, I consider the IDW universe as a completely new universe. Nothing.
Even though it follows after Sonic Forces?
That's I'm gonna get to that in a moment.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What I was going to get at is I consider it as a new universe because even though we know all the characters that started off in the comic, it's not really written like if it's actually introducing these characters to a new crowd. You just kind of assume you know them, which I think is But my real issue is I think Amy is fine as a leader.
Okay.
It's just that there's an arc that could be put there to show how she learned her leadership.
Yeah,
Okay,
they don't
that's
really
fair.
explain how she becomes a leader. She's just a leader, and Knuckles is just like dethroned from his leadership status.
Right, so I'm just saying my own headcanon because this hasn't been written yet.
Okay.
But pretty much, let's say like the 6 months that Sonic was captured during Forces, that is the time when Amy actually learned how to be a leader. She goes through lots of mistakes and little victories just to keep the resistance together. And I think that's when she learns her leadership skills, but that hasn't been shown to me yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
however, I actually have a thing about, Amy's change in, personality. I think I can actually explain this.
Sure.
Okay, so, Amy's entire, stalker thing, it's apparently a very attractive Japanese thing.
Okay.
However, because of the... Oh my god, I can't talk. Because of the entire,
They say like yandere type character.
Yes, however, because of the domestic abuse in other places outside of Japan, Sega therefore changed Amy's personality to avoid any kind of backlash with Amy possibly being abusive, like I said she was back in our shipping video.
Right.
Yep, that's perfectly understandable.
I also want to go back to something you said, regarding Forces or IDW being a continuation of Forces. I mean,
Okay.
that may be true, but make it like the official continuation. I'm referencing a video here. It's like you could consider it canon to Force's storyline.
Yeah.
It would be like okay, so like see it like this. So you got Sonic Forces, and in one timeline you have the next main series game or TSR, whatever's considered the next story after Forces in the modern Sonic timeline.
Okay.
And then you have another timeline that's IDW. So
the many worlds interpretation.
It'd be like the games are like A tier canon, and then like the comics would be B tier because all the games are canon to the comics since it's continuing off of Forces and the modern Sonic timeline from there.
Okay.
But it's none of the adventures post Forces that modern Sonic would have, unless adapted otherwise, are not canon in the B tier timeline.
Okay, that's fair. But anyway, let's
So
get
it's
back to
an
Sally
offshoot,
for
yeah.
a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's get back to Sally for a minute. Like how exactly did you two learn about Sally? Like Sat AM, the comics. How did this happen?
You can go first.
Oh boy, I have an interesting.
It's mostly because mine is a little more simpler. So.
Yeah, mine is a bit lengthy. I feel bad because I'm being the real talky one. You're not really able to get like a word in, Koji. Is that all right by you?
Oh, that's perfectly fine by me. It's just that my story behind Sally is just I grew up with the cartoons and the games at the same time.
Right.
That's about it. I mostly got into the comics like way later.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, I have a very interesting story regarding my introduction to the SAT-AM and the Archie stuff.
All right, everybody get comfortable. Grab some popcorn.
Yeah, I get the feeling that people are going to kill me for this story. Even I kind of want to time travel back and just strangle myself a little bit.
Wait a second. Does it involve a certain website known for some R34 comics?
No. It's not any hentai related thing. It's not that.
Ah, crap.
As a precaution, nobody witch hunt.
Mm-hmm. No witch hunting here.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. No witch hunting is allowed.
This is not Salem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, Alex, go ahead.
Okay, so as a kid, my introduction to the Sonic series was Sonic X.
Okay.
I loved Sonic X growing up.
Sub is better nowadays. I'm sorry.
Right. I am gonna get to this, but there is kind of a bit of a lead up I need to get before I get to SAT-AM. But so
okay,
basically,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, Sonic X. That very like shonen era Sonic. That was my Sonic growing up. Mm-hmm. Just Sonic X is just everything to me. So it's like, this is sort of like 2003, 2004 about.
Ish.
Yep. Ish.
DVD. We didn't have like a DVD player, so we had like these like Sonic X VHS tapes.
Yes. Oh yeah, with the VCRs, I remember those. I used to record episodes.
Yeah. For me, I was really sick of using the VHS player because our VHS player was breaking and was eating the tape. So it's like, I want a Sonic X DVD for Christmas, and so my folks. I didn't say Sonic X. I just said I wanted a Sonic DVD. So.
Oh wait, I think I see where this is going. They got you SAT-AM the complete series, didn't they?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna get to that. But Sakuya kind of.
Yeah. She dropped.
Should I stop and wait?
Up. Oh no. Well, wait. She'll be back. Keep going. She'll be back.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, you are right. They did get me the Sonic Complete SAT-AM box set.
Okay.
And just reading through the or not reading through it. I watched a couple of episodes, and basically I basically was like, the thing I hate now is like the Sega Japan / game purist kind of fans.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like,
what the fuck is this?
Why is Tails brown? Why does Sonic sound like he has a cold? Who's this Dr. Robotnik guy, and why is he doing Eggman's job? where's Chris, Cream, Cheese, Shadow? Where are these characters that I care? Because I didn't know that this was made earlier or that it was a different continuity in general.
And I'm going to guess that you were pissed off at your parents for a while.
Well, I wasn't pissed. Because, I was raised to be grateful with what you get, but,
Okay.
Even though I didn't verbalize it, I watched, 3 episodes of Sakuya, and, this is where the Sakuya fans come to fucking... Oh, no.
Calm down, dude. Calm down, dude.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. So I took the DVD out of the DVD player, put it back in the box, and I threw it in the trash.
Oh!
Oh God! Thank God I now have a new box set these days to repent for my sins. So also as a side note, some quicker story. I don't remember which one it was. It was either Gems Collection or Mega Collection. One of them on the GameCube had the Archie covers.
Oh yeah, that was Mega Collection, I believe.
Mega Collection, yeah. So I had Mega Collection on the GameCube. And sometimes I just look at the Archie covers and I'm just like, wow, these are cool. What video game or cartoon is this from? Because, me being the stupid child that I was, I didn't know what a fucking comic book was, so... So eventually I went up to my folks and was like, can you get me this? And it's like, are you sure you want this? Do you even know what it is? It's like, just Sonic. Sonic is cool. So eventually, a giant box of, Archie comic. And I know it was Archie because I have faint memories of flipping through one of them and seeing Sonic's robot parents.
Oh, yeah.
I remember this as a kid. I'm just like, they're books? Sonic wouldn't want me to read books as I rip one in half. Oh God, I hate those stories, man.
It almost sounds like you actually had to work for your interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but obviously I don't think that now. My childhood self is the big dumb. But eventually. I got reintroduced to Sakuya through the Nostalgia Critics review of that and Adventures.
Ah.
And I know the Nostalgia Critics a bit of a meme these days, but
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
Right, but I don't know. I liked his review, and it's like, I never really sat down and really appreciated these shows. So I sat down and watched Sakuya, and it's like, you know what? This show's pretty good. I like the characters, especially Sally.
Really, for me, it was really funny, even though, honestly, now I can't watch that without imagining Chucky from Rugrats with a southern accent. God damn it, voice actors!
She's thick, also. Just putting that out there. Bunny is a thick bitch.
Yes, she is. And by the way, cursing is allowed.
No, I know. I say bit because that's the meme when people say someone's a thick bit.
Oh, okay then. Okay, so with this campaign, what exactly are you guys hoping to accomplish with this?
Well, to me, I just simply enough I don't know about Alex, but in my point of view, I just kind of want to have some sort of what's the word?
Equality between the Archie and IDW fans, would you say that?
Yeah, because they're all good characters, and I don't want people to just forget the old characters just because, I don't know, whatever is in Sega's head at the moment,
All right, and Alex, what about you?
Well, I'm gonna say first, I'm gonna disagree with you, Koji, as I'm personally not a fan of Tangle and Whisper. I mean, I'm not disparaging anyone who does like those characters. If you like those characters, so be it. I don't see the appeal. They're really bland, boring characters to me. But hey, if you like it, more power to you.
Okay.
But regarding my perspective on the Rally for Sally campaign, it's really a matter of, this is the Archie fans' last shot. This is our last chance, our last stand to be heard out by Sega corporate, and so like we can have something, even if it's something as small as a character in a non-canon mobile game that most people probably don't even play these days. Because Sally existing in a smaller capacity like a mobile game is better than her just not existing at all.
Okay, so you simply want fairness and fair representation.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay,
It's
so
just like, because again, like I was saying before, again, the Archie fans have been clamoring for more representation from Sega for decades, only for our pleas to be unfortunately ignored.
okay then, and now let's see. Let's actually talk about some of the unfortunate implications involving Sally that Ken Penders has since revealed on his Twitter, including one controversial one. However, like, first one, the idea that originally Sally was going to die. What are your thoughts on this?
I gotta crack my fingers here.
Oh no.
There goes the question I was going to ask.
Okay.
Well,
so
welcome back, Sakuya.
Yeah, welcome back. You doing all right? What happened on your end?
My computer decided to glitch out and just completely hang up.
Oof.
Ouch.
Okay, but
Sorry to hear about
anyway,
that.
And again, there goes the question I was going to ask.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, let's just pretend that you asked it and I'm answering it to you.
Yeah.
So, regarding Sally's death, because like you're talking about around the Endgame saga, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, Ken has given, and this is coming from someone who is a Ken supporter, he has kind of made a bunch of different explanations for why Sally was going to die. I've heard so many different things, like, oh, it's because the Sally miniseries didn't do well, or supposedly Penders thought Sally cramped Sonic's style, or
something involving Son Amy, I'm sure.
King Max, what?
Something involving Son Amy, I'm sure.
No. Son Amy was barely even a blip on the radar at that point.
Yeah, way back then, yeah, it wasn't really a thing.
Well, Son Amy wasn't really a thing until Sonic X, like the X generation, as I call it. But anyways, another supposed reason why it happens because King Max was just finally introduced into the comics, so that would kind of, since Max is the king and Sally's the princess, that would make her character redundant. I'm not saying that. I'm just quoting the different reasons that have been given over the years. But personally, the one that I like to follow is this one.
Okay.
So I don't know when, but it was somewhere around the 30s or 40s of the comic. And Ken got a call from, I think, his editor Scott Fulop at the time. I think it was Scott something.
Okay.
He got a call from one of his fellow employees on the book saying that, hey, the cartoons are canceled. Adventures in Sad AM, they're canceled, and basically being like, don't expect Sonic to last much longer than this. So initially, he wrote out the Endgame saga to be the just conclusion of the Archie series. Endgame was going to be the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, and basically, I see it like this. If it was going to be, he says this, where it's like, if we're reaching towards the end, Sonic needs to have his final battle with Robotnik. So this is how I see the death in the Endgame saga. I see it as, it was supposed to be the end, so like, the thing that really finally drives Sonic to kill the fat bastard known as Robotnik is the supposed death of his beloved, of Sally Acorn.
Okay, so it was going to be like a drive for vengeance.
It's like a poetic thing where it's like, you lose both your greatest ally and your greatest enemy.
Okay.
So that's sort of the interpretation that I subscribe to. It was not meant out of malice. It was not because Sally was a bad character or other characters or she was cramping Sonic's style. I subscribe to that version of the story where it was like it was meant to be a very poetic thing. The comics were under the assumption that they were going to end until Sega's like, no, because like Saturday M fans were coming to read the book now because again Saturday M was canceled, so they were coming in droves and reading the book, and readership and sales were skyrocketing. So it's like Sega's like, you know what, we should really keep this going. So they told Ken they had to keep the book going post Endgame, and they also had to bring back Sally because they had plans for her as a character.
Okay.
Supposedly being all the Sega World Australia content.
Yeah.
But that has never been confirmed. We can only speculate.
Okay, and now on to the next subject. The entire... Oh, I don't even know if I want to say this.
Take your time. I feel like I know what you're going to get into.
The Sally and Jeffrey St. John stuff.
Okay, so I am going to slam this into the ground right now.
Okay.
Geoffrey St. John is not 20 years old.
Are you sure? I could have sworn he was.
Hold on. Nowhere in any official material in Archie or Sega or anything, if you look at like any of the comics, any of the wikis, or even like the Sonic comic encyclopedia, or even Geoffrey's bio for the Lara Sue Chronicles,
okay,
he has no age listed. The only place where we got 20 from is from the tweets after the controversy had started. And if we're going to take random tweets that were made years after the publication has ended as canon, then I guess all the crazy shit J.K. Rowling has said about the Harry Potter lore on Twitter, about Dumbledore being gay, or all the other crazy things she said online as fact. And I feel like it should be a rule where it's like, it's not canon unless it's in the universe.
Okay, Alex, so you believe that unless it's stated otherwise, Jeffrey St. John is like 16, 17 or something?
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of delving into headcanon territory. I always sort of saw Geoffrey as like 18 at the most, like 18, 19.
But at the same time, wouldn't 18 and 16, I'm pretty sure that is illegal in some states, wouldn't that still be considered statutory if he did make uwu with Sally?
Okay, so it's really interesting. It's a really interesting topic. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because it's like, oh, Alex Hedgefox supports pedophilia. No, I don't.
Yeah, we got to be very careful, which is why I actually kind of regret bringing up this topic. But since we're talking about Sally, we do got to talk about it.
I'll still give you an answer, but if in editing you think it's a bad question, you can completely cut it out. I won't mind.
Okay, no problem.
But I'm still going to answer the question anyway.
Okay.
So yeah. You did just bring this up, that the whole thing about it, the different states. That's the thing though, because like everyone's freaking out about, like even if Geoffrey was 20 to Sally being 16, the legal age of consent is 16. So yeah, it may seem kind of icky to some people, but it's not illegal.
Okay,
like,
that's a very fair
People may
stance.
have very different moral standings on the situation, but it is not pedophilia, because technically speaking, Geoffrey and Sally would be two consenting adults who are of or over the age of consent for those sort of actions.
Okay, that's a very fair answer to that question. Would you agree with that, Sakuya?
Yeah, that was definitely a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like, have you thought of any other questions, Sakuya? Because like, I don't know how much longer we're gonna keep this going.
Yeah, and it's like, again, the question I was going to ask was already asked, so...
I mean, I know you guys talked about, like, Penders being the cause of the reboot.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
this
an
is
interesting story.
this is my specialty because I have researched the Penders case inside and out. I have learned a lot about copyright law. I've looked at other cases that are similar to the Penders case.
This
Okay,
is actually
Alex?
how I met Alex.
Okay, then go ahead, by all means. Tell us, like, exactly, and the audience, tell us exactly what happened with the reboot, the Penders case, and exactly
Okay.
what happened, which ultimately caused the Archie cancellation. Please share it with
Okay.
the audience.
So, not everything I say is fact. There are going to be bits and pieces where I have to speculate. But most of it is pretty solid, I would say. So,
Alright.
So as I said before in this interview, there is a very inexperienced editor who was working on the book around like the 140s, 150s of the book. And then again, as I said, this person fired Carl Bowlers without really any warning.
And that was after the infamous slap, yes?
Slap is
Yes.
134.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, it's funny you mentioned the slap. The editor is the reason for the slap.
Really? So both of the gentlemen being blamed are actually completely innocent?
Well, I mean, John Gray. Okay, so I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to continue with the lawsuit speak. There's a lot of-
All right, I'm
cover
sorry.
here.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's good to get all the information out there. It might not be concise, but it's out there.
All right, by all means, tell us what happened with the whole John Gray accusations of the slap.
Yes. So with the slap, because when I looked back at Dumsman's video, I'm just like really confused because how are there two different stories unless they are the same story and we're missing a piece. So then I was looking around and I saw that Ken Penders brought up the whole slap accusation, and Penders said that Bowlers told him straight up that it wasn't the slap and that it was the editor at the time, Mike Pellerito, who got John Gray to do the slap. So Gray is still kind of guilty, but the source of the slap comes from Mike Pellerito.
Okay, so essentially, one of them was a big Son Amy fan and wanted Son Amy in the comics, and so that's what brought about the slap, I'm guessing?
I don't know about that part. I mean, I know John Gray is definitely Sanemi, but I cannot speak for Mike Pellerito because all I know, based on from what I've researched, is Mike Pellerito told John Gray to include the slap. Basically, here's a weird analogy for it. Basically, what Pellerito did to John was basically give him the equivalent of handing him a loaded gun and basically saying, you know, you could shoot this gun, but no one's saying you have to shoot the gun.
Okay, but anyway, back to what happened with Penders.
Yes, with the lawsuit. So, Mike Pellerito made work so impossible to work on for the Sonic comics because, like, he didn't have those freedoms that he used to have when writing for the book originally. And this was right around when he was doing 25 years later, and, like, really the straw that broke the camel's back, I believe, was, you know, him constantly trying to push for Shadow in 25 years later, which Penders heavily disagreed with because, you know, this story was meant to be for the characters who were originally there in the book, and that was their future. It wasn't meant to be the Shadow show or whatever.
And weirdly, Flynn would actually include Shadow later in the future version of that.
In Flynn's version of it, but that's because...
And I was angry, but let's get back on topic.
Yeah.
This is not about Shadow.
I'm going to try and avoid talking about Mr. Writer Man from 160 because I feel like if I get to that, I might say some things, and I'd rather not.
Anyway, back on
But
topic.
Anyways, so Ken quit. He was not fired. He was not fired by Archie. I want to set that record straight. He quit because work was just so hard to do with this inexperienced editor.
Okay.
But then eventually he found out that his work was being reprinted by Archie. So, like, stuff like the Knuckles Archive and the Sonic Archive, like, the stuff that he made for the book was getting re-released.
And he wasn't seeing a penny?
Yeah, no, he wasn't seeing any money for it, even though it is a standard comic industry practice for the creators to get paid royalties for their work being reprinted and resold and republished.
Okay, there is a bit of an asterisk there, but
Okay.
go on.
Well, you want to fill in that
okay.
asterisk?
It's mostly because of how Archie did things in the early days and still now.
Would you care to explain?
Pretty much, there's a thing that all of their artists and workers have to sign. It's called a work for hire contract. Basically, it turns over everything that those creators make to Archie. So even if you made it, Archie owns all of it. Now, the interesting thing about the Penders incident is that he, along with a few other people, never had to sign that contract.
They never signed it.
Yeah.
So Archie and Sega don't own those characters, those stories, those creations. See,
Okay.
And
Yeah, pretty much if he did sign it, this never pretty much would have happened.
yeah. And that's sort of where the caveat of the lawsuit sort of comes in, where Penders, because he wanted money for his work, because it's not cool to have your work be published and not seeing money for it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure we could all agree there that would be pretty shitty if that happened to us.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, like, I actually heard somewhere that like, a Sonic Chronicles was ultimately the final straw for Penders. Is that correct?
I'm gonna get back to Chronicles in a sec.
Oh,
That
okay.
takes a build up. That takes an actual build up.
Yeah, the Chronicles stuff actually comes a lot later than most people like to claim it does.
Okay. Anyway, do continue.
Okay, so Penders was starting to file copyright registrations for characters, artwork, and stories that he had made for the series.
And
the reason
Archie
why
wasn't
he was
having
doing
it?
This,
Archie wasn't having it.
yeah, well, the thing is, like, the reason why Ken was doing it is not because these are my fucking characters. It's because it's like, hey, if he legally owns the rights to these characters, then they technically have to pay him for the reprints that involve those stories, characters, and concepts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense so far.
Okay, and then, as you were saying, Archie wasn't having any of it, and
Yeah.
Archie sued Penders. A lot of people like to say that Penders sued Archie first. No, Archie sued first. Archie shot first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will say, however, Penders did countersue, saying that he would use every legal means at his disposal. But again, that's the countersue. Everyone likes to make it out like Penders shot first. Yeah, and that's not what happened.
Yeah, there's actually public records showing this too.
Yes. And I have read those records basically inside and out, and that's why I know as much as I.
It's weird how nobody mentions that. Everybody
Oh,
always
yeah, no, because
villainizes
people are
Penders.
contempt with living a lie.
And it seems like people just like to dunk on Penders.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Penders does say really weird things.
Yeah, he
As
does.
discussed
It's-
earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he does say
man.
very weird things, but on this one like thing,
Case.
this one case, he is in the right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to make a very long story short, with the details, there were forged contracts. Archie fired their whole legal team and got a new one. Sega did not want to be involved in the lawsuit, but the court said that they couldn't settle without Sega since it was the Sonic property that was in jeopardy here. So, against Sega's wishes, Archie brought them in. A lot of stuff happened. Ultimately, the lawsuit ended in a stalemate.
So
Basically,
nobody won.
Well, technically both parties won.
So Penders got his money, and Archie was allowed to do their reprints.
Not exactly. This is how it was phrased. Penders is now the legal owner of his material.
Yes.
He owns everything he created: characters, stories, concepts, artwork, etc.
And he fucked it up big time with those Laura Sue books, but let's not talk about that.
Right.
I mean, I'm still personally looking forward to Lara Sue. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, Penders fanboys, like, leave me alone, hurting anyone.
Okay.
Anyways, but Archie, on the other hand, could still use the characters under two stipulations.
What's that?
One, that they credit him or his company in the little copyright blurb at the bottom of the introductory page.
Which I believe they did do.
No, they didn't.
Oh no.
They didn't do that. And the other thing was he wanted the royalties for the reprints. That was all this was about. This was never about Penders stealing the characters from Archie. This is about Penders fighting for the money that he legally deserves.
Okay.
So rather than Archie agree to these stipulations and just pay him the money and keep the old universe going, Archie basically did the equivalent of taking the ball, showing it in front of the whole playground, and popping it in front of everyone, ruining it for everyone.
Which resulted in the reboot?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, well, we don't want to pay you, so we'll just completely omit your crap entirely and reboot it.
If I remember right, during when Ian came on, they were still having that lawsuit, and in the middle of the lawsuit, they were already scrubbing out everything that Penn had put into that universe.
Yeah.
That's why I think 160 to 167 was so sudden, is because I'm pretty sure Archie told Ian to say, hey, we want everything scrubbed out that has Pender's hands on as much as possible, as fast as possible.
Which is why, the sudden style change, the change in the writing style, which everybody blames Ian for.
Got killed off or replaced.
Off panel, on panel, really fast.
Yeah.
It was just nuking it as fast as possible because Archie wanted it. All that so they can avoid any possible royalties.
Yeah, and so then after the lawsuit, where it's like they're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place, they rather be the stubborn, greedy children that they were, and rebooted the book.
Mm-hmm. So basically, they were acting like children breaking a toy because they couldn't have it.
Pretty much.
Now, it's also been known that Archie just doesn't like giving out royalties in general. I can't bring up exact cases, but there's
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah, exactly. That's one. They just don't like paying royalties whatsoever. So once that happened, the Sonic incident is nothing new in the history of Archie, really.
Yeah.
Okay,
and as I was saying,
how exactly did Chronicles get involved in this whole mess?
Okay, Chronicles. So I don't have the exact time frame, but this was sort of somewhat during the lawsuit, I believe. Penders was at a convention, and a couple of reps from BioWare showed up and were sort of talking with Ken's wife and his son.
And they mentioned the Dark Brotherhood and how similar they were to his creations.
No, it was more a matter of because they want Ken to actually work with them on the game as again the Dark Brotherhood and Shade are so similar to the Dark Legion and Julie Sue
and Lienda, technically speaking.
Ish. More or less. I still see her more as a Julie Sue XP because she's the love interest or whatever for Knuckles.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways.
But Penders was not at the table at the time. So basically they said hey, can you leave a number or can you get back to us because Ken isn't here right now. And they said, yeah, we'll get back to them, and they never did. So basically, and this is me sort of assuming just a little bit.
Okay.
But basically, I guess it's well, he didn't say no, so they basically took his idea of, the Dark Legion and Julie Sue and created, the Dark Brotherhood, the Nocturnus Clan, and Shade.
Okay, so this was a matter of miscommunication, people not communicating.
Mm-hmm. And everyone likes to say that there was a big lawsuit between Sega, BioWare, and Penders. The thing is, that case never went to trial.
Yeah.
It was dismissed without prejudice. There was no case with the Chronicles incident.
Oh.
I mean, I do kind of agree still that Penders did get gypped, but, you know, you can't win them all.
Okay, then. Okay, so, like, I guess we should actually begin wrapping up since we've been at this for a while.
Right. Might as well call this Rally for Sally and additional Penders talk.
I
Yep.
mean, hey, this was a pretty good talk, and we actually got some pretty good information.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Glad to be of service.
Okay, so, like to wrap this up, like, what are your opinions on the Sonami versus Sonali debate as the final question?
Why can't we have both? Or why not?
There's Peach and Daisy.
I mean, that's how you can see it. Personally, I'm a bit more biased to Sonali because I really like the chemistry between the two of them.
Thank you.
Sonami is very much a one-way thing, and I don't know. I don't see it happening personally.
Okay, so both of you, thank you for coming and like explaining everything about Rally for Sally and some things that we definitely got wrong in past videos.
No problem.
Glad to help.
I say it never hurts to ask. You know, sometimes there's people out there that just take certain things at face value and never really ask the other side of things.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, and that was kind of what we did. We just kind of like went off like what we had seen and heard, and it's
all the trolls and the really toxic fans.
Yeah,
I will say there are toxic Archie fans.
Yeah, I honestly don't blame you for like the toxic fan base that is Sonic, because there's a lot of toxic people out there.
And it's not even just Archie. Just the Sonic fandom as a whole. Is a sample.
Yeah, well, like, hopefully this video did something to dissuade some of that opinions on the Archie comic fandom and such things. Hopefully this did help with that.
I would hope so.
I hope so too.
Anyway, both of you, once again, thank you for coming. We greatly appreciate this. I am Melantart VA.
And I am Sakuya Amano.
And we'll see all of you in the next video. Say bye-bye, boys.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.